What's going on, everyone? Welcome to your Black History Soccer podcast. Can I kick it, FC? I'm your host as always, Elliot Barr, and joining me, I got to make sure I get all the credits right for you. He is the owner and founder of the Rifle Winners of Nisa, the true heartbeat of Maryland soccer, Mr. Jay Saba. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, Elliot. Thank you so much for having me, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate you for having me on your podcast. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, no problem, man. Look, if we're gonna have a Black History Soccer podcast, we gotta have one of the few Black owners in American soccer on the show. It's been a while, man. I think we just hit 80 episodes. I'm finally getting to this, so definitely, man. This was something that I've been wanting to do for a while. That's been on my bucket list and everything like that, man. But yeah, like I mean, obviously everyone wants to hear about the story. We'll get to that, man. But like, let's get into the origins of this club, how everything got started. Because I was reading into you guys' history, and you guys started off as like an amateur club, like just like a couple of guys playing pickup soccer. How did this come about?
Yeah, I mean, it's just regular boys, man. Went to UMBC playing, and then we wanted to, after we graduated, we wanted to keep touch with each other and things like that. And the easiest way to do it is by joining a local amateur league.
Yeah,
We just kept playing, and then as the time went on, we noticed lack of opportunity around the area. And when we got financially at least stable as a group, collective group, we decided to bring pro soccer to Maryland, man, and give opportunity to kids that otherwise wouldn't have received those opportunities.
so I got a question for you. Were you at UMBC at the time when they beat UVA?
Yeah, that it made it to the Nationals Final Four.
Yes.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah, I
How
was
was
there
that
then.
experience?
I mean, it was crazy, man, because it was crazy. I mean, everyone went wild, man. But I mean, UMBC has always had some very good soccer program. Even before then, they did make it even to the NCAA tournament a couple of years prior, and we went to Virginia to play William and Mary,
Mhm.
and they lost. I think I can't remember, was it round of 32 or round of 16
Wow.
that year? So I mean, yeah, UMBC is back then they were very good when it comes to the soccer
Yeah. So
soccer system.
yeah, so actually about like the origins because also I read that like you guys had two different teams. If I read this correctly, you guys had one team in Maryland and one team in Baltimore. Like, how did that all work out? And did you
So
guys
we
ever
had
compete with each other?
Yeah, so we had two different teams eventually. I mean, again, the bigger we got, we played
Mhm.
in the Washington Premier League because we had a partnership back then with another club. And then we played in Maryland Majors. So two different teams playing in two different leagues, and we have some players who also rotated. And we won both leagues that spring season.
Okay.
Pretty much. Yep. And then the following year, we wanted to create a brand, and that's why we made a switch to UPSL for just that the following year.
So going into that, I want to ask you this: like, how did you guys come about? It was like, all right, we were doing this for amateur, like we're playing local pickup soccer, and being here in Richmond, like we have a great like local league, whatnot, CBSA. How did you guys come to the decision, or talk us through like how did you guys come to the decision to make this a team, like a semi-pro or professional team at that point?
So for us, again, lack of opportunity. We just noticed that a lot of the players, when they play locally, especially the minority ones, and they do well for teams, for example, they don't really get seen,
Yeah,
So that made us really, really sit down and think deeper and basically say, hey, we wanted to put everyone on the map, regardless of where you come from and what your socioeconomic status is. And we just wanted to showcase them. Regardless, if you're talented, we believe you should get the opportunity. And if you want to take something a lot more seriously, then you have to build yourself a brand so that people can take you seriously. And we felt like the best way to do it is to actually enter a national league and start building yourself up. Instead of just a club, you have to turn yourself into a brand and something that is also marketable. And that's a true testament to what we've accomplished, and it's a good thing because a lot of our past leaders now are doing great things nationally, right? Our former GM works for Men in Blazer now, right? We have all the previous coaches who are doing big things as well. So yeah, that's just how we just give opportunity to people regardless of what their socioeconomic status is or their skin color or anything.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing, man. Like, it's so hard, definitely here in America, where, minorities or people of color don't get those same opportunities, regardless of what it may be. But to have something that is like built brick by brick by people of color, you guys are showing it a successful model of how it's supposed to be done, even in the face of adversity, is powerful, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So I want to know, man, how did you guys come up with the name Maryland Bobcats? Especially being there in Maryland. Because to my knowledge, I don't know of any Bobcats in Maryland.
I know. So the group of friends that I was talking about, because we're all so close, we called each other like the Bobcats kind of because we just always roll in a pack together, right?
Okay.
So it just makes sense for us because we wanted to make an impact in the community. And that's the reason why we just decided to just call it that, the Maryland Bobcats, based on the fact that we're always hanging out together and looking out for the best. And we all met at UMBC, and that's why if you see the color of the club itself is black and gold,
Mm-hmm.
that's because we all graduated from there as well. So that's to also to pay tribute to the club, to the school that we all met, and things like that. If people know UMBC, UMBC is a very small college, but we all like one thing that they do preach there is like unity, and most of the people I met at UMBC are my closest friends today.
Man, that's dope, yo. It is so good to see, like, I said it before, like, when you're building a club or something special to you, like, you try to incorporate things that mean something to you into it, man. And, I mean, hey, that makes it even more unique now, you know?
Yeah.
So I was listening to Africans Talk Footy, shout out to them, and I heard that you were a Nigerian, so I got to ask the question: who has the better jollof, you or Nigerians or Ghana?
I take a pass, man. We're all one.
It's so funny because I had Tulsa on the show last week, and I forgot to ask him that, but I'm pretty sure he would have, gone Nigeria. I have friends that are Guyanese, and they swear up and down their jollof is like godsend, and Nigerians to do it
The,
wrong.
the, the, the thing about it is, though, is jollof is actually neither Ghanaian or Nigerian food. It's
Yeah.
basically originated from Senegal.
Oh, okay. So I never knew that.
Yeah, it's originated from Senegal. So, Senegalese people have the best jollof from my own perspective,
Okay.
to be quite
That's where it
honest.
originated from. That makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. So, I mean, talking about your origins and everything, like, how did you, you know, how did you get into football? How did you get into soccer? Everything like that.
I mean, soccer, man, growing up back home, like I've always played, man. So you have no other choice. So I played when I was growing up in primary school. I played in
Mhm.
high school. So like I mean, that's the number one sport in Nigeria. So you have to play. You have no other choice. You know, and so that's just I mean, an average, you know, boy. Like I mean, they just automatically, man. You know if there's one sport you have to be able to do is play football,
Yeah.
and it's just that's just the nature of it. You go on the streets, you just start seeing people playing soccer everywhere, man.
Now,
So it's easy to get into it.
uh huh, did you, did you come to America to play soccer over here, like college soccer and whatnot?
No, so I mean, I've always come here back and forth for all of this because my parents live here. So,
Oh,
but
okay.
I just went to high school back home, and then after high school, I came here for college.
Ah, okay. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. And you played at, you might have said it already, but you played at UNBC, right?
No, I played for the club soccer, not the varsity team.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And they probably missed you out there anyway. Probably missed you out there anyway. right. Yeah, man. Let's go. Let's go ahead and talk about your prize team, your Maryland Bobcats, man. I mean, this year, I think it's fair to say it's been a historic year for y'all. You know, you guys were running gunshot through NISA and everything, and we previously met before when you guys came down here down to Richmond to play in the U.S. Open Cup in that 5-2 thriller game. Darwin Espinoza making himself known to everyone who didn't know him already. How how has this season been for y'all personally? Like, how has everything been for y'all?
I mean, it's been amazing, man. I mean, and we have a very young group of coaches
Mm-hmm.
and who really truly love the club. So we're very unified internally. So it was very difficult to be able to break us apart, even though some people tried. So for us, it's been, I mean, seeing those players work day in, day out, and they all have one mission in terms of trying to, bring a championship to the state. And that's pretty much what they were working towards, man. It was fun to watch them play. It was exciting to see how hard they work, the players, the management.
Mm-hmm.
They put them through and they always came up on top and things like that. So it was very, very fun to see what they're doing as a unit.
Yeah. So how long have you guys been building towards this moment of, like, you guys lifting the regular season title at home and everything? Like, this has been something that's been in the works for a while, right?
Yeah, because I mean, when we came into the league, yeah, you have to pick and going into pro league, but we didn't understand what we're getting ourselves into, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you end up attracting the wrong sets of people who basically are not here out. They just wanted to take from the organization. But year two, we learned a little bit more, but it didn't really start taking off until year three when we finally got the proper people to come in charge and help out. And it started from within because the head coach of the club right now also played for the club 4 years ago. He played within the system before he actually got the head coaching job. Yeah, he played. So it was easy for me after making the mistake 4 years ago, the first 2 years, to now try to get the right personnel, the right people in terms of the culture and what we want to do and what we want to build, vetting people beforehand. So by year three, they did well, the best result the club has ever gotten in the history of the club, right? And then year four, we all sat down and we decided, hey, this is the year to go win it all. So from top to bottom, the sporting director started implementing. Now is going to be his full time year, implementing what he wants to see. The head coach implemented, and then the general manager and myself. So it was very easy because we're all united and we knew exactly what we wanted in a player. We knew exactly what we wanted from the club and what we wanted to do as a unit.
And I might have, I probably skipped ahead of it, but I should have asked. Like, you guys were in semi-pro at this point. You guys were in UPSL and whatnot. Were you guys also in Nisa Nation, if I'm not mistaken?
We're in EPSL. U23
UPSL.
teams are in UPSL. Yeah, no, EPSL. EPSL.
Okay, my fault.
Yeah.
What made the decision for you guys to jump to go to professional play? Because this is like right around the time COVID started to kick off. So how, like, walk us through that journey and the club decided to go pro through COVID, where the world is coming to a stop, and you guys are like, no, we're going full guns ahead on this.
So again, there's several things. Lack of opportunity, right? And the time you tap into the opportunity you have is key. And hindsight is 2020. If I knew what I knew now, we probably would have thought twice beforehand. Because again, what made us wanted to go pro was what we were told and what we were sold. We were sold a dream that happens not to be true. We were sold something about being able to actually be a big time club and also be able to, bring in investment through viewership.
Yeah.
We met with a couple of clubs that were also in the league at that time, which is, I mean, we talked to Detroit City, Chattanooga, what they call it, 1904, some of the top clubs around the area then that were still in the league. And it was very easy for us to be able to come in because, again, there were these promises that were made. And unfortunately, that was what basically drove us because, hey, if you're able to compete with Detroit City, if you're able to compete with Chattanooga, you're able to compete with some of these historic clubs, that also, elevates your brand and that also helps you out in terms of growth, pretty much. So that was actually what motivated us. And the opportunity as well for the community itself, right? Because the DMV is wealth of talent and not all this talent are actually being seen. But if we're a club that actually want to do that work within the community, then it's also a lot easier to be able to showcase the talent that is actually located around this area instead of bringing talent from outside.
Yeah. Uh, How difficult was like that first initial year? Because like I think you like understand like how difficult it was to like do promotion to get like ticket sales and all that stuff for like which was essentially like in the middle of the pandemic.
It was rough, man. It was definitely rough because again, people at that point didn't know what they were dealing with. In terms of
Yeah.
COVID, it was also fairly new. But for us, we were just playing the long game, right? Again, it was just an opportunity for local talented players, right, who otherwise would have been forgotten. So that was our vision and that was our goal. So yes, it was a difficult year for us, to be quite honest.
Yeah. And about that difficult year and everything, and like now we can jump to it. Like you guys have taken the time to like not only learn your mistakes but also build upon it and to have this historic year. Like if you could go back and talk to like your previous self in 2021, right before you guys are about to make this decision, like what does that conversation look like with yourself? Like what are you telling yourself to be on the lookout for?
I would say basically people who promise things that are not true because at that point you were so hyped because you had just become national champions of UPSL.
Yeah.
So we do a lot more vetting. We look into every single thing that we're about to get ourselves into before we actually make the jump because you rather wait than just rushing to do things that might end up affecting you down the line. So that would be definitely my big advice. And then protecting ourselves, like building a wall, not allowing just any other person into our circle, into our mix. We vet people more thoroughly before letting them close to the club.
Yeah. I understand that, man. Definitely understand that. And I mean, I think one of the things you've gotten right so far is with the hire of your head coach, Alex Coe. How instrumental has he been to building the club's identity and all the stuff that happens on and around the field?
Yeah, for me, man, trust is key, especially if you've been burnt a lot the first 2 years. So for me, needed action was louder than words, and Alex is just an honest person.
Mhm.
Every single thing he said he was going to do as a player, he did, and that's why it was so easy to tell him, "Hey, please, man, you gotta take this position because we can't afford to trust anyone else from the outside. Because every single person we've trusted have actually, not done what they promised and what they said they were going to do." And I mean, his integrity can speak for itself, right? I mean, the man is very hardworking, and he believes and loves the project. So it's easy for him to be able to buy into things and implement it. He's just an overall good guy and good person, right?
Yeah. And I mean, how can I say this? Like you guys have had like to have one of the few, or truly, I think, if I think about it, because you mentioned earlier, like they had not only have the youngest head coach, because what he's only 29, right? So he's still under
Yes,
30.
29. Yeah, 29.
Yeah, still under 30, like he's younger than
Yeah.
me. And to have a person of color as your manager, man, especially in the lower league soccer where we've seen it, like it hasn't been woefully successful to get jobs at all. Like, how important is that to the culture to see, like, to have? a general manager black, a head coach black, ownership that is black. How important is that to have it be integral into this club?
I mean, for us, man, again, we don't discriminate. We are open, to anyone, regardless of what your color is, and that's why our
Yeah,
modem is for all, right? But for us, we just want to show people that they can dream, right? And we want to be able to show path to people that otherwise wouldn't have been given that opportunity that we can help out.
yeah,
So for us, that's always been our modem, right? Hey, we're here for you. Let's try to work together. Anything you need from us, we'll be there for you and try to see what we can do. And it runs down even to our players as well, right?
yeah,
We don't sign our players and tell them after 10 months you can go. No, we're asking you questions. What do you want to do after playing football? We care more than just playing for us for 10 months and going. So we try to work with you and see what areas we can help and that we can assist you to continue to grow and to continue to learn as well overall. So that's us, man. We're more than just a club where we call ourselves a family environment, you know? That's just how we operate.
yeah. No, I mean that's amazing, man. Especially like you said, like you guys are in an area where there's no other pro team. Like you guys are the pro team, and it's so important to build that family atmosphere and to have a place where. Because I mean, we seen like reports that happened in like a USL League One where guys are going to a coach that they thought they could trust and get abused and abuse of power and things like that. So it's great to see like a club is like trying to pour in and build them up because like there's a time in your soccer career you guys are looking to like, hey, like what can we do to build you up, even if it's not with us. Well, like what can we do to build you up going forward to set you up for success for the rest of your life? Which
Yeah, correct. A lot of
was
people will know, man. Again, we have our players, for example, who came to us and had played USL for years. We were active part in him securing his permanent residency card as a club, right? We have all the players that we are responsible for them getting their USSF B license right now as well.
wow,
So we care more than just play for us and go. And we just we try to be different, man, from every other club.
yeah, yeah, man. I mean, oh man, this club really finds a way how to be special in your heart and whatnot. Like I'm not even from Maryland or Baltimore and whatnot, and I'm like, like I got pride for y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
respect. No, I respect it, man. And I guess the point that what we're all here for, let's talk about it, man. Like, so NISA recently put out their report. They're saying that the Maryland Bobcats, despite winning the league title, was banned or barred from the postseason playoffs due to USF rules and FIFA rules. And I say all that to say that this is also the same league that, despite having multiple games postponed or canceled, um, games, players not being played, as reported by NISA, Knights of NISA, protagonist soccer podcast, and also how teams are being held up by the league office. One like you said it yourself, like one of the few clubs that are offering 10-month contracts that are looking to build and grow into their players that has their own ground that pays their vendors, take care of their bills. It seems a little fishy. So I want to hear your insight into it, man. Like, how did all of this play out? How do we get to this point where even this point in time yesterday on October 21st, Nisa has played a championship that obviously no one really knew about, and the team that won the league title isn't there.
Yeah, man. Thank you, thank you for bringing this up, man. For us, I mean, we're a club with integrity, right? We do everything with integrity. We carry ourselves with class, and because we understand what our purpose is. We don't have to tell lies. We don't have to, say things that are not true. We just let our action speaks for itself, right?
Yeah,
For me, I think if you're that bold and you're that honest and you know exactly what you're talking about, then it should be easy for you to share exactly what those things were. And the truth of the matter is, Uh, they've been known 2 years ago that the club had some financial struggles. They're aware of what our situation was. Uh, they made certain promises to us for us to be able to play this season. Those promises they made were not fulfilled, and we committed to our players. And part of the commitment to our players was to uphold all the contracts that we've already signed with them. And we're not the clubs that don't pay our bills. Like, no, we would never allow that happen. And
Yeah.
that's why I said what I said. Again, if this club was not doing what it's supposed to do, this club played, the only club that played 18 games on the field this season, okay?
Mhm.
The only club. Our
Yeah.
last game that was supposed to be hosted by us, that was our youth academy night. The team that was supposed to come and play us didn't show up. They decided they can't make it. There are clubs in this league that are still owing players and staff since June of this year, right? We're the only club that signed our players for 10 months contract, and most of our players are getting paid up until November, and we have few of them that are going to be paid up until December. So that's just the honest truth about it. We follow the rules and we stay within our integrity. We don't take short corners. We don't do things in a very shady or slimy way. So I think again, you don't slime a club that have done everything to make sure your league looks good. You don't do that other than there is an ulterior motive to doing that. Maybe if you tarnish their image, that might affect them from being able to do what they're supposed to do. But there were some things that they wanted us to commit to, and for the sake of this club, it was just impossible for us to commit to it. And the way that they operate is that you have to operate in good faith, but they are not allowed to operate in good faith, right? So the relationship only works one way. And if we're saying we want to build soccer in this country, you don't operate soccer league the way that is currently being operated, pretty much. So how can a club be deemed eligible to play during the regular season, the entire 18 games, right? Traveled everywhere, and deemed ineligible going into the playoffs? It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't.
Yeah. So
And they are aware of every single thing that was going on with the club since last year. They were aware of it.
yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed as if like the league was asking you guys to do stuff they weren't asking other league members to do, such as, and I'm reading this from Protagonist Soccer, who did an excellent article, you guys. So make sure I cover everything because this is a lot. To pay league fees, the performance bond, and the promise to remain in the league next year and beyond, or be booted from the playoffs. And that seems like very extreme, because in a recent interview, I believe it's the league COO, mentioned something about the performance bond and about how you guys defaulted on or refused on it. So can we clean all this up around, because this seems very confusing as well.
Okay, so the performance bond is basically, I think, is required by either US Soccer or NISA itself. Basically, as the owner of the club or the primary team owner, you need to secure a performance bond of $250,000, and this is fact. The
Mhm.
$250,000 is in form of a loan. The league can in turn around and cash in on that $250,000, even if they had told you you didn't have to pay league dues because they needed you to play for them to have enough teams, right? To be sanctioned by US Soccer. So
Yeah,
it's not that, yes, you can pay $3,000 to get that performance bond, but they can turn around and cash in on that performance bond, which is in turn $250,000. So let me put it into perspective for you. You promise a club that you get them something that they can go ahead and plan their budget for the year. You didn't come in with that money that you had promised them. The club committed based on that you know, promise that you made to them. Now they're stuck with the players, right? The club cannot back out from those players, right? Because then they're gonna come after the club, and that's not how we operate. We've never been a club that forfeited on our responsibilities for our staff, for our vendors, for our players. We
yeah,
don't do that. So now you can turn around as a league and say, hey, I told you not to worry about the league dues because we needed you to play in the league. Turn around in September and start demanding. You first started demanding around July that someone who's not the primary team owner should enact a performance bond. And that in the past, you've had other stakeholders who are not part of, who are not the PTO, enact the performance bond, right? And the person keeps telling you, I'm not the primary team owner. I'm not going to do that. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
they can turn around and then go and cash in on this performance bond. So in addition to this person taking on over $800,000 in bills that they have to pay for the entire year. Mind you had promised to help them beginning of the season. That's the reason why they even committed to play in 2025.
Mm.
So you see now?
Yeah.
So there are certain facts that was being left out. Yes, you paid $3,000 to enact a performance bond, but that is almost like you securing a loan
Yeah.
that they
Yeah.
can cash in on.
Yeah. It does seem very, very murky in details and everything like that, man. And it seemed because when it came out that Nisa was barring you guys from the playoffs, it came across very weird because it's just like, from my understanding, like Maryland's the only team who's, like you said, who's played every game in the league season, barring games that have been postponed. It's not on y'all and it's on other teams' end. And like, you would think that if U.S. soccer is going to get involved in anything, is the fact that multiple teams in this league haven't played payers yet. So then, why is now all of a sudden U.S. soccer or the league now trying to pull this card and is trying to shoehorn you guys into an impossible situation?
It's not US soccer. Let me
Yeah,
correct. It is not US soccer. This has nothing to do with US soccer. And as a matter of fact, again, contrary to what anyone wants to say, and then this has nothing to do with them. This has
yeah,
a lot to do with the league that we're part of and
yeah,
the leadership of that league in terms of how the leadership is structured. For you to play soccer in this country and think you want to be an independent entity, you have to tell people the truth. You
mm-hmm.
have to let them know what they're getting into. And the truth of the matter is, it's not an independent entity. It's disguised as such, but that's not what it is.
Yeah,
So that's the biggest problem here. Uh, People are not they're not in soccer with good faith. They don't even understand what a good brand is. They don't care if you come into a league and then you close shop a year later. That's not what the system is supposed to do. That's not how soccer is supposed to be developed in this country.
yeah.
You know,
No,
so if you really want to be transparent and honest, you need to go out there and tell people the truth. Because in order for you to kick the Bobcat out of the playoffs, you ought to not be aware of what Bobcat was going through internally. You
yeah,
you you shouldn't have an idea. Oh man, I just found out this happened, so that's why we kicked them out. The truth of the matter is they were surprised by the way we were doing and what we were doing, that it was a shocker for them. And they couldn't, like they didn't want to see us win it all. Let me put it that way. Because if
yeah,
you're coming out now and you're telling us, oh, they didn't win anything, come on, man. You have to think about like how terrible must you be, right, to be running a soccer league without understanding what the regular season title means and what playoffs live means. Like this is the team that won the entire, like they had the best record in the entire division, right? Basically, we on the field we earned 26 more points than the second place team in our division. Okay, we had more points than the so-called champion now in the league.
yeah.
We had more points than them, and mind you, they got 5 forfeited games. If I'm not wrong, 5. We got
Yeah,
1.
yeah,
They got 5. 5 games were forfeit. They got 3 3 point 5 5 games, 3 points each. 3 goals for every forfeit.
yeah. That's a
We
shame, man.
played. We played 18 games on the field. 18. We didn't get no free point not until the last game of the season. I bet you if we had to travel, would have traveled and played that team, and they wouldn't have been a forfeit. So
Mm.
then that's supposed to be your champion. They didn't play games.
Yeah.
they,
And look,
they didn't play.
and look. I'm saying, like I said, like we talked about it earlier, man. Like I'm here to boost you guys up, and like I hear all the passion and frustration, and like just sitting here as a teacher, hearing the situation is like you said, like yo, we don't have to lie about it. Like just be honest, call it what it is, you know. And it's just a shame how Nisa shot themselves at the foot for no reason. But I mean, and I'm not gonna just throw this league under the bus, but it's just for their dirtiness that they're doing towards y'all, you guys have definitely came out on the other side better from this. And talk to me about like that youth night that you guys had there and whatnot, and how are you guys building like youth programs around the city? Because I didn't know you guys until now that you guys had or are building a youth program.
Yeah, we have a youth academy program where we also get most of our youth players that are, 16, 17, 18. We just want to give them true opportunities. Either you want to go the pro route, but if you also want to go to college, you have opportunity to also go to college. Alex himself is also the president of the youth program. He has
Uh-huh.
connections with college coaches. This summer we played in the Nisa Independence Cup. We had the reserve players, players who are not getting enough minutes. We mixed them up with some of our 16, 17-year-old kids, and they won it all. Right? We have a couple of our players now based off of that are now being looked at by colleges, top Division 1 school programs just because of that. So for us, we wanted to build the true soccer pyramid, what it's like in Europe. That's
Yeah,
just the goal, man, and we that's what we're doing, man. We're trying to be different from every other club. We're trying to tell our own story and also show it with our actions, right? It's not enough for you to just say it, but you have to show that you're indeed making that effort and you are indeed doing it, and that's how people are going to buy into it. We care
yeah,
more than just coming, let's take your money from you. No, we want more than that, we want more than that. When we tell you something, we're telling you the truth, or we're not just telling you, lies and things like that and pumping ourselves up. Most of our players on the pro level are the ones that coaches the youth team, right? And the youth players come out and see them play. So whatever it is they're teaching them on the field, they can also see their coaches also do it, when they're playing at the soccerplex every Saturdays as well.
yeah. So I mean, I guess that leads us at the point now. Like, so what's next for Maryland Bobcats? Because from my understanding and hearing it, like that bridge is burnt at Nisa. Uh, if you don't mind sharing, like, what? How do you guys plan on going from here?
I mean, the commissioner said it today, right? I mean, if you can read beyond the 90, which
Uh,
is a podcast that they controlled. I will read his quote in terms of what he said, which explains everything in terms of what we do as a club. We're just not going to succumb to being bullied or, like it's not right. It's not fair, right? We've done our part. We did what we're supposed to do. They're aware of everything that was going on internally with our club. We stayed through by making sure we uphold our integrity, by making sure every commitment we made to those players, even after we've been put in a very, very difficult situation, uh, you will never hear any of our players or staff, again, our vendors not being paid their money. And one thing they would not want to agree, and one thing they would not want to hear about is like they live in a completely different bubble.
yeah,
The reason why this club hasn't gone and succeeded as far as it's supposed to is because, let's be honest, the league that it plays in, the reputation of the league matters. You can't just throw it to the side that it doesn't matter. Contrary to what people may say, it's the fact. If we're going through the door and trying to knock on the door for a sponsorship package, the moment they tell us, oh, they're playing this particular league, they tell us no. Like people don't live under the rock. So it's either those leaders want to be honest and transparent with themselves and understand, look in the mirror and say, hey, maybe our reputation is not the best. Let's try to fix it. But a lot of these people, they don't see it as such. That's why they run to podcasts that is more favorable to them, right? Because they're so used to going to their comfort zone and just telling so many untruths. Because then there's not going to be pushbacks when it comes to that. I mean, he said it. He said it himself in his own words that the Bobcats have been removed from the LLC of the league. So for us, man, we don't know what the future holds for us. We're still going to continue to work hard and do what we're supposed to do. Our community comes first, and then we're just going to wait and see what happens with our future, man. But again, we're just working. We're working internally. We're hoping for the best, and I'm sure, if things goes according to what God has in stock for us, then the whole world will know what the deal is, pretty much. But for us, we're just not going to succumb to unnecessary pressure,
Mhm.
unnecessary demands. We're not going to sacrifice our community and our club that we've built and the trust that most of these parents and family have placed in us just because we want to win the playoffs.
Yeah.
If we really wanted to throw away the club, then we would have signed whatever it is that was being demanded of us, and things like that. Especially from me as well. I just didn't see the trust, man. I
Yeah.
didn't see it. I didn't see it. There've been so many on like false promises that's been made that was never fulfilled, and it's crazy to me that again, you keep making all these false promises, and when people actually catch you and they react and they realize that what you're telling them is not true, then you try to cook up certain things to make yourself look good. And look at the pattern. There've been several clubs that have made several complaints. And I just, again, I commend you for doing your research. I want people out there to do their researches too. Go and do your research about the league we're talking about. Go and do your research over the past 4 or 5 years or 3 years about this league that we're talking about. This year alone, there were only four functioning clubs, right? Five
Yeah.
of them were not that functioning. Again, there's still players that have not been paid their dues. There are nine clubs, right? Supposedly, all those nine clubs, you got to bring evidence that all those nine clubs pay their dues, right? A club that can't pay its players, do they pay their league dues? Those are the questions. Those are valid questions. So why is this particular club being targeted? Is there more to it than what is being talked about, right? What is the reason behind all of this? Is it because this is the only minority club in your league and you didn't want them to win? What exactly it is the reason why? Because everything, if they were not qualified beginning of the season, then that means they shouldn't have been allowed to play from the get-go.
Yeah.
So I see this more as a cover up rather than something that you're trying to fix an issue and things like that. And we have email threads, we have evidences to support what our backing point is, and that's why we're so comfortable to come out in public and release our statements, right? That's why I so out, because again, this is a club that we love, and there's a reason why this club exists. It's not a club that you can just pick up and think you can sell to the highest bidder. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think they just felt like, hey, they couldn't get us under control, and why not? We're just gonna throw them out there, man, to the wolves, and that's just the honest truth, man.
Yeah, man. Once again, like the more you, and you're right, like readers, I mean, listeners, please do your research on it because the more you read into it, the more you'll get to understand the vibe of like this makes zero sense of why Nisa is punting this way. Like it just makes no sense. But man, like I I I just want to say thank you. Hopefully this was therapeutic for you, man, because I feel like I learned a lot. I definitely hear the passion and whatnot, and like you said it before, man. Like wherever is ahead of y'all is definitely will be in good favor, man. Hopefully, we can get a little Maryland Richmond derby going. I need closer
I
rivals.
don't know, man. I'm not. I don't know.
Nah, hey, look. We'll keep that on the wraps until we know. Until we know. But man, um, where can everyone? I mean, obviously everyone can follow the club, but where can people follow or get more information or if they are interested in this story and hearing you guys' perspective on this?
So it's info. If you want to see us an email, if you want to send us an email, info@marylandfc.com. You can also look us up at www.maryland marylandbobcatsfc.com, and things like that, man. So again, thank you so much for having me, man. I'm so grateful, man. We need more people like yourself, and also for the listeners out there, man. Hey, don't leave for yourself, right? Don't be a servant, which is you want to serve just yourself. Try to see how you can be people serving. Watch out for your community, watch out for your structure, but be there to leave a legacy for yourself, not just something where you want to hold on tight to, just to be selfish. We believe we created a different avenue. We believe we've created a bus that everyone can now get into, that someone can dream about, that they're capable of doing. We're doing something really special, man, and something different. We're not self-serving. We were people serving. We want to serve the community. The sacrifices that the young men have made in this club, including myself and my business partners, is tremendous. That's something that people like ourselves usually wouldn't do. So that's it, man.
Look, I can't say no better myself, man. So I'm gonna end the pot on that because that's a powerful message, man. That's powerful. So with that being said, listen, I just want to say thank you for taking the time of your day for listening to our podcast. Like you said, please be informed, get the facts out there, be informed of what's happening and whatnot. And with that being said, we'll be back next time with another story talking about Black history in and around the Americas and all around the world. So with that being said, I'm your host again, Elliot Barr, and we will holler at you guys next time. Be easy and be safe.